Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy RCA the Great, and as you can see on the screen, your eyes are not deceiving you. We have been going up against teams full of free agent cards in Unlimited, and I'm sure you guys have been too. So today we're going to be talking about team building strategies, how to upgrade your stats and badges, and things you can do to be more competitive in this mode against these high-powered teams to get you some more of these rewards in Unlimited mode. As you can see, my record is 35-1, so I do win at a high percentage, and I don't have that great of a team. I am no money spent, so I make sure I'm getting the best out of the teams I can put together. As you can see, we were able to pull that Amethyst KD out of this pack, which was clutch to sell him for some MT to help continue to build my team. And like I said, my team is not that great, but I do a good job of putting some strategy together. And we're going to be talking about some of the things that I think you should be doing when you're building your team, especially if you're no money spent and want to get the best out of some of the cards you have now. So as y'all know, I'm a very defensive minded player, and one of my favorite duos in the game is that Ruby Paul George and the Ami Kawhi that goes along with him that boosts both of their stats up. And as you can see, my badge count on both the Kawhi and the Paul George is higher than normal. So I'm going to walk through how I upgraded my badges, why I chose certain badges for them, and what I look for in the auction house to try to get the cheapest prices that I can. Also, we're going to be talking about coaches and putting shoes on your cards to get the most out of the base cards you have now, just in case you don't really want to upgrade your cards, but you still want to stay competitive in the mode against some of the players that have some of the diamonds or pink diamonds. So right here, as you can see, I was trying to add different badges onto Kawhi and Paul George, but I did not have any more of the next tier up for what I wanted to do. So you have to be able to head over to the auction house to get the next badge that corresponds with what you already have. So if you have a bronze badge already on your player, you want to go buy that same silver badge and try to find it for cheap and maybe rack up on them just in case you have other players that you want to give that badge to also. But I always scroll all the way through the auction house to try to find the cheapest prices for these badges, because it is kind of glitched right now. You can't search individually. So I scroll through all the badges and try to find them for fairly cheap. I usually search for like 1200 MT or less. As you can see right here, I found the next Intimidator badge up, that gold Intimidator badge for 950 MT that I was going to put on Kawhi. I found a nice 950 MT silver range extender that I was going to add to my carry Kittles once I get that bronze on them. And then I'm just going through looking for cheap badges that I know I'm going to want to add to my players. If I find something like Interceptor, Pickpocket, Intimidator, Heart Crusher, those are the badges that you really want to be able to add to your defensive players. And we definitely went crazy last night, racking up a ton of badges so that my team will be prepared to go to the Diamond League and take on these free agent cards, pink diamonds, and all these crazy teams that I know we're going to be going against, because I don't see myself upgrading my team anytime soon. So I'm making sure I'm upgrading my defensive badges so that we can stay with some of these high-powered cards we're going to be going against. And now again, I'm defensive minded, so badges like Pick Dodger, Intimidator, Heart Crusher, Clamps, Tireless Defender, Lightning Reflexes, Interceptor, those are badges that I'm going to be looking to add to my players, because my goal is to be able to slow down or stop the offensive powerhouses they have out there. But as you can see, Paul George has now 12 gold badges compared to his base card that didn't have any. So you can upgrade your base cards to make them more competitive, which I love this year. And then if you want to go even further with it, you can add some shoes to your cards. I like to add shoes that boost, once again, defense, steals, lateral quickness, because I want my cards to be able to defend any kind of card that's out there. So if I have a Ruby or an Amethyst, I want them to still be good enough to defend the pink diamonds and the diamonds. Not only does it keep me competitive, but it keeps me from having to always upgrade my cards and spend a bunch of MT on cards. So I love being able to add shoes and badges and be able to stay competitive with cards you're already used to using and already used to having on your team. So that's a great feature that 2K has. Make sure you guys are using that. So after we add these shoes up to Doug Christie and Paul George, let me show you Paul George's stats after the duo and all that we added. So we now have an 83 3-point shot, 85 driving dunk, 93 perimeter defense, and 75 interior defense on our Paul George. 84 ball handle, and his lateral quickness is also at a 93 with 12 gold badges to go with him. And then our Kawhi, also upgraded, has a 77 3-pointer, which was way lower than that. And then our Doug Christie, who I use to defend the ball at all times, is way better on defense with a 90 steal and an 88 perimeter defense. And now he also has a 93 lateral quickness, so he can stay with pretty much any guard on the court. And we also upgraded some of his gold badges to make sure that he's able to stay with some of the top tier cards in the game. And then on top of that, another key feature is your coach. I like grit and grind, so I get a 3-point lateral quickness, help defense, perimeter defense, driving layup, defense, rebound, depending on the position. But I like grit and grind because you get those offensive and defensive boosts that help a lot, especially those boosts to the lateral quickness, 3-pointer, and perimeter defense. Those are huge in some competitive games, and they definitely go a long way. All right, now that we have our team set up how we want with stats, badges, and coaches, let's go into our matchups and make sure we have who we want guarding the ball and setting our defensive settings. This year, I actually like setting my defensive settings on every player, especially earlier in the year, because not everyone can shoot. So I'm going to play each player on the court different based on how I think the game is going to go and how they're going to utilize players. If they're going to be driving a lot or trying to rim run, I'm not going to smother them because I don't want them to blow by me. If they're going to be shooting more and there's somebody like Klay Thompson that doesn't dribble very much, I am going to smother them because I want them to pick up their dribble and I want to be more pressure on them. So you have to really know the personnel you're playing against, know who's going to shoot, know who's not going to shoot, know who you can leave, know who's going to be going backdoor for certain things. You don't want to deny certain players that are going to be going backdoor cuts more. So there's going to be a lot that you're going to have to figure out about your opponent before going into the game. And having a defensive mindset is something that I really enjoy, and being able to have that chess match in the game and it always not just being a 3-point contest. So early on, I really love having this kind of strategy in my team. Now remember, these are all 96 rated free agent cards we are playing against, and as you can see, the speed and defense of my team is still able to keep up with all the free agent cards on the court. We're able to play aggressive style defense against them and get a bunch of steals and get a bunch of fast break baskets, pretty much just wreaking havoc on the court with cards that are way lesser tier than our opponent and forcing them into rushed bad shots because they can't really get into their offense. And now you got to remember, these people are using free agent cards because they think they're going to be at an advantage. So you have to make sure that you're going into your games understanding what your cards' limitations are, what your cards can do, what badges you added to them, and put them in the right positions to succeed. Because these guys are just trying to come out and just run past you every possession. So your strategy going into these games and how you build your team and how you place your badges and where you put people is going to be very, very key in whether you're going to be winning or losing. Because if you're going up against free agent cards or pink diamonds and you just have your base rubies out there, unless you're extremely beast at this game, you are going to get handed just because their cards are going to have way better stats and way better badges than you. So you have to make sure that you have a proper strategy to go against some of these people that are really just utilizing these high rated free agent cards just to make sure that you can compete and stay in the game with them. Now, you don't have to go out and spend a bunch of MT on new cards or anything. You can just use who you have and just upgrade some of the stats and badges that they have. And I think that that is awesome that 2K allows that. Now, it is kind of glitched. They do need to fix some of it up. But I do really enjoy being able to use the cards that I've had since for like a week or 2 weeks and not have to rush to upgrade my team to be able to compete with some of the players in this mode. But yeah, I'm going to just let some of this gameplay play out. A lot of these games that I'm showing are against people that were using free agent cards or had a better team than me. But it doesn't matter. So the biggest tip I can give you guys is to make sure, especially defensively, you are upgrading your team so that you can stay with the better cards that are going to come out in the game. So your clamps, your intimidator, your heart crusher, make sure you're upgrading that stuff on the cards that you have. And I think you will have a better success rate in my team this year. As you can see, we're lurking the passing lanes with that speed by Paul George. But yo, if this video helps you out, if you like the video, make sure you like, subscribe to the channel. I will catch y'all in the next video. Peace.